All right, so nice job finishing that second section. Now you're going to finish up with this part and it'll say, please complete exit slip 2.1. So what you're going to do is go into your packet and you're going to find lesson 2.1 exit tickets. This is also located on Canvas and you're going to complete these four problems here along with problems 5 and 6, asking about if you have two positive numbers or two negative numbers, what your outcome is going to be. And then finally, question 7, if you add two integers with different signs, how do you determine the sign of your answer? So once you complete lesson 2.1 exit ticket, then you're going to move on to the next part of the lesson, which is right here. Lesson 2.2, I can use multiple strategies to add rational numbers. Now, lucky for us, we have already learned the multiple strategies for adding these rational numbers. The first one was using a number line, right? We had Stanley the tightrope walker. We had to move backwards for negative numbers and forwards for the positive numbers. And that was a really nice visual. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time and we need to have space on our paper. And so we can also use strategy number 2, which was the algorithm. And we talked about if we have two numbers that are both negative or two numbers that are both positive, we just add them together and then take the sign of the negative or positive numbers. But then if we have a negative and a positive number in our expression, we have to take a look at which number is bigger. So let's go ahead and take a look more at the algorithm. In this first problem, we have negative 13 plus negative 4. So my answer is just going to be negative 17, right? Add the two numbers. They're both negative, so we keep that negative sign. And now we're looking at problem 2. This time we have a negative number and a positive number. And so what I'm going to do here, since they're a positive and a negative number, is find the difference between them. So I'm going to do 4.5 minus 1.5. And that's going to give me 3. And now we need to determine if this is going to be a negative 3 or a positive 3. So I'm going to take a look at my 4.5 and my 1.5. Which one's bigger? Well, 4.5 is bigger, and since it's positive, my answer is going to be positive. Let's look at one more example here. Problem 4 says negative 3/4 plus positive 1/4. So again, here we have a positive and a negative number. So I know that I need to find the difference. Let's go ahead and do that to start. Think if I have 3/4 of a pizza, and then I eat 1/4 of those 3/4. I'm going to be left with 2/4, otherwise known as 1/2. And now here comes the big question. Is this going to be positive or negative? So I can determine that by looking at my two numbers, 3/4 and 1/4. Which one's bigger in terms of absolute value? Well, 3/4, right? And since 3/4 is negative, then my final answer is also going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 1/2. All right, so we did some practice problems together. And so now it's going to be your turn to put this to the test. We have our workshop. Solve each problem. Use the strategy that works best for you. So when it says use the strategy that works best, we're talking number line. Or you could use the standard algorithm, which one more time is when we have a negative number and a positive number. We first find the difference between them. So 15 minus 7 to get 8. And then we determine our sign by looking at the larger number in terms of absolute value, if that's positive or negative. In this case, 15 is positive, so our answer is also going to be positive. All right, so that's the second algorithm that we can use. After you go through and complete all of those problems for part B, you're going to move on to problem C, and that's real world problems. So if we look at, for example, question 2 here, it talks about a roller coaster being 90 feet above ground. So I want to have a positive 90, and then it descends or drops 105 feet. So again, we're going to write this as an addition expression. So I need to include my adding sign. And then if it's dropping 105 feet, I'm going to add negative 105. So 90 plus negative 105, where does that put me? Some of these may include multiple steps. For example, this one here says that a stock started at $37, and then during the day, it went down $3, it went up $5, down $7, and then up $4. And obviously, you don't have to color code it like I do. I just like to use green and red to differentiate between positives and negatives. It helps me out. But either way you do it, you're going to go ahead and solve. And then you're going to try your best on part D. But if you struggle a little bit, don't worry too much. These are some challenging problems on part D. And then here, once you're finished, you are going to complete exit slip 2.2. So if I hop back here, right underneath 2.1 exit ticket, you're going to see lesson 2.2 exit ticket. And you're going to complete the 4 problems up above, as well as question 5. If you add 2 rational numbers with different signs, how do you determine the sign of your answer? All right, don't focus on this word rational. It's really just saying if you add 2 numbers with different signs, meaning a negative number plus a positive number, like we see here in problem 3, how do you determine the sign of your answer? So again, think back to that algorithm that we talked about. What is this algorithm right here telling us to do if the signs of the addends are different? So if we had like positive 6 plus negative 2, we have to follow these steps. So that's what you'd want to answer for part 5. All right, and then once you have written in what you would like to here, you've answered your questions up top here, your exit ticket is complete. You are going to go back into Canvas, and you are going to submit under Tuesday, January 12th, where it says exit tickets 2.1 and 2.2. All right, and that's how I know that you worked on today's work and you have a good grasp on the skills that we've talked about today. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate all of your time. Keep up the hard work.